If I spot Eminem, it's like, since you're so good in rap, don't need to focus on this, which is what our managers tell us. Focus on your app, the things that you should work on. Eminem tried to do ballads, love songs. Fail. Hi, good morning. So my name is Coach Jason Ho. I'm a performance coach. I'm not a career coach. What I do for my clients is I try to find what is the best performance for each person. My life is a little bit colorful. Born, raised in Singapore, I've done 32 different jobs and businesses in my life. 32. I was a professional will writer, going to hospital, on people's dying breath, helping them to do a will. I was an insurance agent, or they call it financial advisor. I did very well. I did MDRT, $1 Million Roundtable, earned a lot, but I felt something was wrong, so I moved. I was a logo designer. I won an award for logo design, and I did for different companies, but I moved again. I did busking on the streets of Orchard Road, right? So for those people who don't know, you need to have a license to busk on Orchard Road. So I was busking on the streets of Orchard Road with my friend. We wrote 100 different love songs, and we earned $6 per hour, right? Just to pay for parking. So I'm sharing all these things because I've done a lot of different things. And in my life, once I've understood that, I understood that there was a big missing gap when it comes to where is your greatest performance going to be. So now I run a company called Strength School. I do most of the time, I do executive coaching. So who do I coach? I coach MNC leaders. I coach directors, GM, MDs, and C-level. That's the usual people I coach, right? Most of the time, I'm helping them increase their performance. So when we think about performance, we think about this whole idea of, so I need to just learn more skills. I want to say that is the wrong mindset to do. You don't have time to learn all the skills that you want. You don't have that time. So what you need to do is you start to narrow down. And you start to narrow down what on earth should I be learning at this point of time compared to all the things and opportunities there are. So how do I think about this? I think about this idea of what are you built to do personally for you. So I am a parent. I have 6 children. I'm 14 years old all the way to 1 year old. I have 4 boys, 2 girls. For those people who are parents, you will also realize that if I ask you, are your children very different or very similar? Very different. Who here has a sibling, brother or sister? I can guarantee you that your sibling finds you strange growing up, right? So your sibling found you strange, and you also found your sibling strange. And what is the interesting thing about this is that, why am I talking about all these things? It has something to do with what are you built to do? Your sibling is different from you, and that's why your sibling is built to do something else compared to you. They're not going to be chasing after the same jobs as you, because inherently inside them, they are wired very differently. However, our society, our parents, they don't teach us what is the best things about us. In fact, it is the opposite. They teach us and tell us what is the worst things about us, all the negative things. So if I were to ask you a question, if you were young, when you were young and then you were like, okay, so when you're a young toddler and all that, what is the 3 words that your parents usually say? Stop is one of them. Don't. No. As a parent, if you think about this, in your own development as a human being, when you first came into this world, your parents tell you 3 things that you shouldn't do. Don't, stop, no. They tell you everything that you are not supposed to do, but your parents don't tell you what you should do. They never tell you what you should be doing. Don't take your sister's ice cream, or don't eat sweets before dinner. But they don't really tell you what. Why? Because they're stressed out, right? So besides that, it is easier to just tell somebody what not to do. So when you're young, think about this, when you're young in your career, in your human existence, most of the time your parents say, don't, stop, and no. So now you know what not to do, but do you know what to do? You don't. So now we move on, after this, we move on to this idea that in school, what do your teachers and your parents do when you have results? So I'll give you an example. Why am I sharing this? Is because when we want to be able to understand what we are built to do, we want to understand what society and our parents and our teachers are telling us that's actually quite opposite. So imagine this is your report. Imagine this is your report book, right? A, B, B, F. So in school, this is your report book. Where would your teachers spend most time on? They will spend most time talking to you about the F. Why? If I spend time on the A, let's say I spend time on the A, what do I get? I still get A. Yes, I don't change. Nothing changes. There's no return on investment if I spend time on A. If I spend time on F, what do I get? Hopefully, wow, hopefully an A. Your tuition very good, right? No, yeah. Most likely you probably get a C. You probably get a C or you probably get a B, depending on how good your tuition is. But when we think about this, is that we have almost like in school, we are taught what we should focus on are our what? Weaknesses. So in school, we've been taught, okay, so if we know our weaknesses, we build on our weaknesses, we can get the most amount of ROI, right? Because when we look at this, I spend time on A, nothing happens, 0. I spend time on F, at least there's this thing called an ROI, return on investment. I'm able to do that. So your parents and teachers spend most time talking to you about your weaknesses, your Fs. Now, let me ask you a question. In the adult world, and I coach a lot of different MNC leaders, do your bosses and your managers spend more time talking about your A's or your F's? Most of the time, your managers will spend most time talking about your F's and never your A's. They tell you what your gaps are, they tell you what your weaknesses are. So if you think about it as a person who's trying to find a job or trying to improve in your job, you're figuring out, okay, so my whole life, people have been telling me about what is bad about me. Since young, my parents, to when I'm in school, I focus on the F, till while I'm in a job, my managers tell me what is bad about me, still F. So the funny thing about this, if you think about it, and I want you to think about this, A, B, B, F. Where do you feel that where will you feel that you will grow the most? Most of us will think that, hey, actually in school, A, B, B, F, if I spend time on the F, I will grow the most. The funny thing about it, in school, there is this thing called a ceiling. No matter what you do in school, you will still, no matter how much effort you put in here, you will still get an A. You put effort into B's, you will get probably a little bit higher. So there is a ceiling involved. And the ceiling is important to understand that in school, it is a waste of time to focus on A's. That's why if you're good in history, don't study history, right? Don't spend most time studying your geography or your literature or something else. So we have that mindset. And the funny thing about work is that we bring this mindset over to work as well. And that is dangerous because when we think about work, we think about something different. It is still this. You still have this report card ABBF. However, there's something that disappears. What do you think disappears? The ceiling. There is no more ceiling. Why? Because at work, we play on a different level. Any company can suddenly become number 2 easily because some other company is able to become better than them. So when we think about the world, we think about there's no such thing as a ceiling. But there's something up here. What is it called? There is another ceiling. It is called world class. This ceiling exists in every industry. And this ceiling, world class, if you think about it, it is always moving. That's why no world record will ever stay there forever. Every world record will be broken. So if you think about this, there is this ceiling called world class, and this ceiling always changes. So my question to you as a person who's trying to figure out, how do I maximize my career growth? How do I grow the fastest? What you want to understand is that this is the ceiling that we're playing with. These are the things that you have, A, B, B, F. Where will you spend most time on? And the clues is actually when you go back to school. Last time when you're in school, the subjects that you were good at were usually the subjects that you were interested in. There is something about interest, there's something about that fire inside that you don't know where that comes from. I just like geography, or some people here, I just like history. And you don't know why. But you just have that. So what is interesting about it is that we forgot about that. Hey, I aced this exam without much studying because I'm interested in that. I find it energizing. I find it that when I open that book, it comes alive. That same thing is important in your career as well. That's why when I say that you have no time to start to, okay, maybe this is the best industry, I go and study about that. Or maybe this is the best industry, let me study about that. That's not the way that you should go. The way you should go is when you think about it, of all the things you do, where would you want to spend your time and effort? Of all these things, if I ask you this question, if you only have these 4 assets, what will give you the highest chance of reaching world class? A. This is your best chance of hitting this world class. And let's say world class at this point of time is 100A. If you spend time on the things that you're most interested in, most energized doing, things that you feel alive, your highest chance is in getting into this thing called world class. So why is that important? The industries and the world doesn't pay if you're not world class. You are at a very dangerous position if you're not world class. You'll be easily redundant. You'll be easily shifted or changed if you are not world class. So when we think about our own career, you want to focus on this one thing. If you want to be able to be at the best of the best, that means in the industry or in the company you are number 1, you only have these 4 things to choose from to try to put in effort. And my take is that in my life, the companies or the jobs that I've done with a lot of ease and a lot of remuneration or results are the things that energize me and are the things that leverage on this thing called my strengths. So I want you to change the way that you think about work. It is not about opportunities out there. It is about, of all the opportunities, what lights up for me, personally for me. And the funny thing is that this exists, and this is important. Every company is trying to hit world class. They want to hire people who are going to be world class or who are world class to be able to say that, okay, my team is now world class, so my company can be world class. However, the funny thing about this line is still there. But this line is a different, it's going to be called different, something different. What do you think this line is called? If you focus on your B's and F's and say, let's say you reach all 4 A's, what is this line called? It's average. And this is the most dangerous place to be. Average means that you're 1 in 100 people. I can choose you or that person, it doesn't matter. Average also means is that it doesn't matter. You have no unique selling point. You have no uniqueness that you bring to the team. You are just another one of those resumes that I have. And that's a very dangerous place to be. So when we think, and I think about performance, and I want to increase your performance, I want you to think about, you have these things and the job that you do right now, right? Or if you're a student, you'd be like, I kind of see that in a project work, I kind of do this better than everybody else. And this, for you, could be like, oh, this is research for me. I enjoy researching a lot. And this is, for me, is coming out with new ideas. I'm not very good at that. So all of us, we want to try to figure out, what is your A's, your B's, and your F's, and you want to make almost audit yourself. And I'll go play a little bit of game to help you understand how do you figure this out? How do you figure this out, okay? So I'm going to ask you, from a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being that you are energized doing something. That means you look forward to that task, okay? So I want you to show 10 if you feel that it's 10, or if it's 8, it's that you just do this, and 0 is that you feel drained. Is that okay? So I'll give you an example. If I ask you, in this task called brainstorming new ideas, what is your number from a scale of 0 to 10? 10 means like, wow, I love brainstorming. I personally enjoy brainstorming. Okay, wait, right? I enjoy brainstorming. Some of us here in a brainstorming session, you contribute 0. And you'd be like, I don't like brainstorming at all, right? There's something else. So I'm helping you to identify what those A's are. Is that okay? So I want everybody to participate. It's easier when you participate, then I can see the results and I can also help you out, okay? So for brainstorming, on a count of 3, show me a number. 10 means like, wow, you feel energized. That means you look forward to a brainstorming session. 0 means like you feel very drained. You don't look forward to the brainstorming session. All right? Okay? From a scale of 0 to 10, everybody show a number. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. So those people who you feel are energized, that means you're around 8, 9, 10, in your job, you should put that as a priority. So for those people who are drained doing it below 5, in your next job, that shouldn't be a priority. You can do it, but it's not a priority. It is not going to be your A. It's not going to be your history that you, without much studying, you ace the exam. Make sense? I'm going to give you another thing. So instead of brainstorming Excel spreadsheets, that means, wow, you open up Excel, you'll be like, wow, I'm so excited about Excel. I love Excel. I'm like, wow, all the formulas, wow, it's swimming in my head and I dream about them. So that's 10, right? Some of you here are like that, right? Some of us here is like, wow, when I open up Excel, I feel drained. It's almost like my blue screen comes out personally, right? So from a scale of 0 to 10, what is it for Excel? Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. So those people who are 8, 9, 10, in your job that you do, that is your A. You're energized doing it. Those that are below, like 5, is a perfect couple. Huh? So 1 is 10, 1 is 5. I know who's going to do the personal finances next time, right? Right? So those are the things that you can do. You are still at a 5. That means you can do. However, that's not going to be your best. That's not going to help you reach world class. So when we think about our jobs, we threw away this thing called emotions. And we think that emotions are only for kids. Emotions are only for little children, for people who are in school. I'm telling you that emotions help you to quickly, it's the most effective way to quickly understand what you're built to do. Your emotions of positiveness, that means I'm drawn to it. I look forward to it. That is a clue to try to narrow down all the different opportunities that are outside there. The opportunities are massive. However, you don't have time to go to all the opportunities and you want to be wise about it. The funny thing is that when we look at this, it is important to understand that when I coach different people, the A's that people have, I want to say that the A's are actually very limited. I will probably give you probably only have 3 mountains of A's. 2 to 3 mountains of A's, that's it. You don't have many A's in your life. Things that excite you, things that energize you. And the F's and the B's and the F's, these are your valleys. And for your valleys, you have hundreds of valleys. Hundreds of valleys. And that's why when I look back at my job and my careers, the things that I excelled in with effort, but a little bit of effort, are the things that I feel most energized doing. The things that I put in so much effort and then still didn't produce results are the things that emotionally, it didn't really fit me. So I'm sharing this with you because this is a way that to understand what are the opportunities that you should go for, where should you invest your time. So you should invest your time in the A's rather than the B's and the F's. And the A's are the things that, what? Energize you. So use your heart to understand of all the things that I do at work, of all the 5 opportunities that my friend gave me, of everything, what energizes me the most. And I want to share this interesting thing. To hit world class, we want to be able to use our A's to hit world class. However, in business and in business, most of the time, your colleagues and your bosses don't tell you about your A's, tell you about your F's. I want to test you. There are 2 industries in this world, 2 industries that naturally spot talent. That means I think you're talented in this and I groom you for that talent. 2 industries, and it's not business. What do you think are 2 industries that, wow, you're talented in this? Because you are talented, I will invest time into you. I will coach you or I will grow you. What are the 2 industries? Entertainment, fantastic. So the one industry is arts and entertainment. Second industry, sports. The coaches in arts and entertainment and in sports know this formula very well. They need people to be at world class, and that's why this is extremely important. That's why when you see American Idol, they'll be like, this guy can't sing. I'm not going to waste time on you. With no training whatsoever, if you can't sing, forget about it. That is not what you're built to do. That's why when we think about this, arts and entertainment and sports, if you are good at sports tryouts, let's say in school, and then you're like, okay, I try 100 meters, I try 500 meters, I try marathon. Hey, you are naturally talented in 100 meters, I will train you as a sports coach. The funny thing is that for individuals like us, we actually don't know what we're talented in. Sometimes our boss will say, hey, you're talented in this, but you feel that I'm not drawn to it. I don't like that. Why are you saying I'm talented in it? That's why the funny thing about this is that if you want to hit world class, do what the arts and entertainment and sports people do. They are very specific and they are very critical about what are you talented in. If you are talented in this, pursue it. If you're not talented in this, don't pursue it, give up, find something else that you are talented to do. So I'll give you a very clear example. Everybody knows Adele, right? Adele. With just a voice and piano, Adele is able to do beautiful music. She has found her niche in arts and entertainment in the music industry, and within the music industry, she has found her niche where she performs at her best with very little effort. And that because of her talent. And that is what? The genre that just ballads, just piano and her voice. If I'm a coach and I say that, hey Adele, you're so good in this, and this is how managers do it in our companies. Managers will say that, wow, you're so good in this, you're so good in ballad. Imagine this, if the manager says that, since you're so good in this, don't spend any time on that. I want you, Adele, to try rapping like Eminem. What would Adele feel? It's like a bit strange, so strange. Why would I want to rap like Eminem when I am gifted, I am built for ballads, for love songs? Same thing for Eminem. If I spot Eminem, it's like, hey, wow, you're so good in rap. Since you're so good in rap, don't need to focus on this, which is what our managers tell us. Don't need to focus on this, focus on your Fs, the things that you should work on. Eminem tried to do ballads, love songs, fail. So when we think about our own life, we want to understand that there is a difference in the things that you do. And the main difference in the things that you do either help you to be average or help you to be world class. And there's some people here who don't want to be world class, and that's okay. But I'm just going to share that it's going to be a very dangerous place if you're not world class. You're easily replaced. But if you're world class and you have like, oh, in this job, in this industry, I am number one, I'm the best there is, then you understand that, hey, those things that you feel that you are better than your peers, you have this thing called an unfair advantage, are your talents and your strengths. So these A's, what I'm trying to get at, that these are actually your talents. And these talents are innate. You don't know where it came from. And that's why for somebody who loves Excel, you have no idea why he likes Excel. You don't know why, but they just love it. And for those people who don't like Excel, no matter what I teach, or no matter what I train you to do, you're not going to be as good as somebody who's energized during Excel. Make sense? So when we think about this, and when you go out there and when you think about your own jobs, what you want to understand, you start to think about is, hey, most of my time, people have been telling me to buck up on my weaknesses, be better at what I am bad at. And I say that, yes, that is a philosophy and that is a strategy. However, that strategy only brings you to become very average. Imagine this, all the valleys that you have, you try to put a teaspoon of dirt and try to fill up those valleys. Impossible. You will be wasting your time. But instead of this, the funny thing about this is that all of us are given mountains. We already have mountains. And we just need to discover it. So what you want to try to find out is like, what is my mountain? What do I have an unfair advantage? Some of us here is Excel. Some of us here is researching on things. Some of us here is design. Wow, when I design something, I feel alive doing it. Some of us here, when it's design, it's like, wow, I feel very drained. So the best way to figure this out, and I want you to think about this, is that your emotions is going to be your greatest compass. When you're clear about what energizes you the most, you have a chance to hit world class. A chance. I'm not saying that you will automatically hit world class, but you have a chance, you have an unfair advantage. Does it make sense? Right? So the takeaway when we look at this is that you have two options to do. One is be average. And how do you be average? Very simple. Continue working on all the weaknesses that you have. Continue to go in areas where we just think about, oh, this role is suitable for me just because of prospects or money and things like that. That is one way to go average. Or the other way that you want to think about is that, hey, how do I be world class so much so that I am in high demand? I'm not just one of the 100 resumes that people see. I am a king or a queen of my own mountain. And the only way you can do that as a performance coach is to figure out what those mountains are. And the only way you can figure out what those mountains are is using your heart and using your emotions. So emotions is not something that adults we should move away from. The funny thing about psychology and the funny thing about human beings, emotions help us to quickly crystallize what we are built to do. It's a shortcut. It's the fastest shortcut of, hey, I feel alive doing this, I should explore more. So what should you do now? Think about of all the things you have done at work, what energizes you and what drains you. And the best way to think about this is that go back and do this audit. So audit yourself based on just two things. Number one, things that energize me and things that drain me. Things that energize you and drain you. I want you to start to audit yourself. Think back of all the tasks that you do. Task means what? Research is a task. Brainstorming is a task. Excel spreadsheets, coming of analyzing things is a task. Of all these tasks that you do, you start to pen down what tasks energize me and what tasks drain me. And when you start to write it down, you'll be like, oh, okay, I love design work. I really enjoy brainstorming. I love to think about the future of things. I don't know why, my mind just goes 5 years, 10 years into the industry, and you write these down. And this side, you have many things that drain you. Your career that you want to be able to start to narrow down are things that utilize this part. So things that you're drawn towards. Another way of looking at energize is what? What task do I look forward? Any task that you look forward to do. And some of us here is people. I love talking to people. Some of us here, wow, a good day is I don't talk to anybody. I just talk to my computer can already. That's a good day for some of us. And if that's your good day, then you should somehow be trying to figure out your next job or your next career or even your current career, try to figure out how you can do more of that. So when I close this, and I want to be able to help you understand that, and I do enjoy questions, so if there's questions, I shine the brightest in questions because it's relevant to you and I really want to be relevant to you. So when we do this, when you go back and then you do this, what are the tasks that energize me and what are the tasks that drain me? You will start to notice that all the things that energize you are going to be some of your A's that you have. There are tasks that you do that you are energized doing that your boss might not even think that's your strength. And there are tasks that you do that you are actually not so good in, but your boss thinks it's your strength. And I want to share this. Your boss has no clue what your strengths are. Zero clue. Because your boss doesn't understand what excites you. That's why for all of us here, we have some things that we are good at doing. The company thinks that, hey, wow, Jason, you're so good at doing this, but it drains the heck out of me. It's like I'm Superman holding on to kryptonite. And that is not your strength. That is your weakness. So things that energize you are the things that only you know. Your boss doesn't know. Your best friends don't know that. Your parents, whoever, your family doesn't know that. The only person who knows what energizes you the most is yourself. So when you start to do an audit, you start to understand, okay, these are the things that energize me. In my future job and in my career, I want to do more and more of the things that energize me. Because the funny thing about it, we go back to school. The things that, the subjects that you are so energized, you look forward to that class, you score better without much effort. Why? Because you are leveraging on your innate talent. So in summary, when we think about this, is that what are you built to do? You're not built to do everything. You're not built to just find opportunities that is the highest pay, highest prospects and go for that. That's not what you're built to do. You're built to do very specific things. You need to figure out what that is. And when you figure that out, you're able to go to the world and say that, okay, this is what I'm built to do. In my previous company, this is where I shine the brightest. I have an unfair advantage. So I close with this. The best way to think about this is that think of two animals, an eagle and an ostrich. Some of us here are eagles, and your boss has said this to you. Hey, eagle, you run very well. You're actually quite good at running. You finish all the tasks by 5 p.m. You're good at running. And we have believed our bosses, because after 5 p.m., we're extremely tired, but we believe that, yeah, actually I'm good at running. But you're an eagle. I want to say this is the best way to think about jobs and what you're built to do is when we think about these two animals. The eagle is not talented or is not built for running. They're built for flying. And the ostrich is built for running. It doesn't matter what people tell you. What is most important is that you need to figure out, what are you? What comes naturally to me? And if you're an eagle, you must fly. And if you're an ostrich, you must run. So it's the same song that we've been hearing again and again. Go in areas where it is the best prospects. It's always that. It's always like the money is in the industry, go with that. The funny thing is that when you go into that, and if it's really you're not built for coding, because there are some people who are really built for coding, some are not. If you're not built for coding, you'll never reach world class. So yes, you can learn that to like an average state. And let's say your role, you need some idea of coding, then understand that you're coding just for you to pass. That means I learned this just for me to pass. But that's not going to make me world class. Maybe for you, coming up on stage, being able to talk to people, that could be your A within a coding industry. So within coding, you are like, I'm there, I'm the spokesperson, I'm the person who is telling people like, hey, join me, or this is the exciting thing we're doing. That could be your A rather than your coding, which is an F, that's painful for you. So all of us here, I'm not saying that, hey, ignore all your Fs. Because the one thing that we must do personally is that if in our role there's an F that we have, we need to put in effort to make it a C at least. But all your energy, the remaining energy, if I were to give you almost an 80-20 rule. So think of this way. You have limited time and you want to grow and maximize your career. With limited time, think of this as you only have 1 liter of water every day to water different plants. You only have 1 liter. The question is, where do I water? And imagine these 4 things as 4 plants. As a performance coach, what you want to do is that you want to water your F so that it becomes a what? C. You still need it to be a pass. You would probably put in 20% of your of the water or your effort to make this from an F to a C. Then where do you spend the remaining 80%? The remaining 80% is here. And because for whatever reason, and you know this in your job, there's some things that if you go for a course, you're better than everybody else. And you don't know why you're better, you're just better. You have an unfair advantage. It's almost like if these 4 are plants, this is the Jack and the Beanstalk, the magical bean. I put in a little bit of water, wow, it grows. So you still need to focus on some things, but that might not be your major. You will probably not be the world class on that. And you want to be able to understand that there's a difference. And the things on the right-hand side, personally for you, draining or energizing coding? 0 to 10.
Draining. Like a 4.
4,
3.
yeah. So it's definitely not your strength. But if you're interested in that industry and coding is a prerequisite that you need to, put that under your belt, but you know that that's not going to be the thing that shines the brightest. We try to share this in the quickest way possible. There is high competency and there's low competency. So are you good at it or are you not good in this? So every task falls into this, and imagine this is the passing mark, average. There's also this part where is it draining or is it energizing? Anything you're energized, imagine this to be a catalyst. You learn faster than anything this side. This is where your growth is. And if you want to maximize your career, you need to figure out, hey, your heart helps you to energize yourself to make sure that you learn faster. So it is normal to start off here. When I was first time a salesperson, I was shy. I was like, oh my goodness. When I did public speaking first time, it was horrible. I was fiddling my pants. I'll be like saying all the time. But I was energized doing it. So what do you just have to do? You just need to grow. And you need to grow into this quadrant, right? And I call this quadrant primal greatness, right? So primal greatness is where you're energized and you are highly competent. So it is okay. This is where we try out different things. You try out different things. Hey, I kind of like coding. I'm not sure. I want to try it out. I want to start to do it. So when you start to do it and all that, you want to be able to say, okay, so let's try that out. Let's see whether people feel that I'm good at it or not. Okay, I actually am energized doing coding. The coding sticks to me like Excel formulas. However, I'm not good in this anymore. It takes time. So for you to reach here, one very good benchmark is this whole idea of 10,000 hours. You need to put in 10,000 hours to be really master or world class. 10,000 hours, if you do something 3 hours a day, you take around 9.1 years to reach mastery. So this is by Malcolm Gladwell's a book called Outliers. If you want to reach mastery of something, minimum will be 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours, 3 hours a day, for 9.1 years, you will reach mastery. However, the funny thing is that we know people who do their job for more than 10 years, but they're shit at it. That means they're not on this side. They're this side. They have no curiosity of their job. They don't want to learn anything more about their job. So what we want to do is we want to be able to understand that, hey, you need to up here. When you increase your competency, you're going to reach primal greatness and you can start off with misguided output. All right, so with that, I thank you so much. Do follow me on LinkedIn. If there's any questions you have, directly DM me. I answer all questions myself personally. My role, I've gone through so many different things in my life. My role is to be able to now help people to understand that you are built for something. If you believe in a God, God has created you for something. If you don't believe in a God, you are built in this world for something special. And the world is waiting for you to see, waiting for you to showcase that special thing. And when you are able to showcase that special thing, I believe that the people around you will come alive as much as you come alive. With that, I thank you for your time and attention. Thank you.